Hello. In my hands is a pack of Saunders Waterford watercolor paper sheets. These are cold press in texture, 190 GSM in weight, and high white in color. I decided to purchase this pack of 10 because I plan to cut them up and make my own sketchbook. Now, why make my own sketchbook as opposed to buying a ready made one from the market? Based on current market availability, I didn't quite find a sketchbook that perfectly fits my need. So, making one will not only give me the perfect sketchbook, but I'm hoping it will also be a fun process.
Here's the paper cutting process. I take the full imperial sheet of paper, crease it in the middle and fold it along its longer side. Now I reverse the fold and make sure that the paper is folded in both directions. I'm going to tear the paper along that crease line. Just to make the tearing process a little easier, I moisten that crease. To moisten it, I use some of the natural sponge piece that I have. The step isn't really necessary, but it does make the whole thing a little bit easier. First, I make a little tear in the paper and then I split it into two. Now I need to divide each of those two halves into three pieces. I already have a template which I cut from the earlier sheet, so I'm using that to get my measurement correct. I'm using that metal ruler to assist me in creasing the sheet. I will crease the sheet in two places and apply the fold both forward and backward. Just as I did with the previous cut, I am going to moisten that edge a little bit. And then rip the sheet into three pieces. Each piece is now 10 inches by 11 inches, which is the size of the page I want. I'm repeating the process for the other half. Even though I did clean my tabletop before I started this cutting and tearing process, I did end up getting a few stains on my paper. I am a rather messy person. Once I begin to apply my watercolor on those sheets, I will forget that there was ever a dirt mark there. However, if you are more observant about having such marks on your sheet, make sure that your table surface is absolutely clean before starting this process.
Six and a half hours later.
I'm here with my cut, or should I say torn stack of papers, stack of sketchbook pages. The reason I prefer tearing to cutting is because by tearing the sheet I get this nice jagged edge as compared to a smooth edge gotten by a blade. Now these are two different types of paper, both of which will be a part of my sketchbook. This is a humble cartridge sheet, not very sure about the thickness. And this is the 190 GSM cold press paper that I showed you earlier. Each full imperial sheet gives me 6 of these pages, each page being 10 inches by 11 inches. My sketchbook will have 30 pages. 6 of these from one sheet and 24 of these torn from 4 cold press sheets. I have placed them in an order convenient to me. I have one of these cartridge sheets here and 5 of them at the back, and all the others are this cold press Saunders sheet. I've also made sure that I align the fronts and backs of this Saunders sheet carefully, because even though the texture on both sides looks fairly similar, it is slightly different, and I want that front and back to be consistent. So I have this stack of pages ready now. I need to go to the printing shop, get a front cover, get a back cover, and get a spiral binding put through this longer side right here.
One eternity later.
I'm back from the print shop with my newly bound sketchbook. A couple of unexpected developments took place. Firstly, I am not too happy with the way this cover looks. I'm not happy with this glossy black material. I think it looks a little bit tacky. This is the material that they usually use for the cover of a PhD thesis. Since I live close to the university, this was the only available option in the shop I visited. There is usually a matte finish option available as well, but it wasn't there this week, so I had to make do. On the positive side, I had a chance to put in this nice golden artwork here on the cover of my sketchbook. This took me around 20 minutes on Adobe Illustrator to mock up. Next, I want to talk about the spiral spring and the binding. I like the quality of the spring that they have used. However, there is an issue with the binding as well. I think the binding is a bit too close to the tip of the pages, which sometimes makes flipping through the pages a little bit difficult. This book may not take the amount of abuse I was hoping it would take. The back page has already begun to bend a little bit along the spiral binding. Ending on a positive note, this book does quite easily fold into half, something which is very useful when working outdoors. So luckily that won't be an issue. So to conclude, this book does have its flaws, both aesthetically and functionally. But I am hoping that having gotten this book made, it will achieve everything I was hoping it will achieve when I set out to make it. The binding and the cover cost me rupees 250. This right here is the total price of getting this book made, including the cost of the paper. I hope you enjoyed this video, found it useful if you yourself are planning to make a sketchbook. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe to my channel, and share it with any of your friends who you think might find this interesting. I will see you in the next one.